Hi everyone, it's RG at Astig Vegan. Kamusta po kayong lahat? How are you all doing? I hope that you are keeping safe and well and healthy, especially during the pandemic. And one thing that I have been doing is not just staying indoors, but also reflecting on things that I could improve upon. I think this is now a good time to reflect, to reassess, and to think about how can we further take care of ourselves. And with that, I thought that maybe I should share what I have learned from from certain experts in the Philippines, and they have become my friends when I was living there in the Philippines in 2019. And so I took it upon myself to interview them and share that Zoom interview with you so that hopefully you can also pick up something useful and meaningful and hopefully inspiring from growing your own food to building mental strength to building a physically strong, healthy body. And starting from growing your own food, that's going to be our first episode. And it's an interview with Rocco Mapua and Monique Obligacion of Druid Things. They are the couple behind a zero waste online shop, and they have started a Facebook group called Manila Grows Food, which is sort of an extension to newbies, a welcome helping hand, so that for those who may be intimidated to start growing their own food, they can post questions there and connect with people who may have been there. We first met when I was trying to compost my food waste in the Philippines, and since then they invited me over to their beautiful place, to their apartment in the urban Manila, and they were able to grow these nice vegetables and fruits and flowers. And they also invited me one time for lunch, and they showed me how they were able to preserve and prolong their harvests and staples. That's why I thought of asking them the same, pretty much this, on the same topic. How are they able to do that? So that we can follow their footsteps. And they also emphasize the importance of being open-minded to try new things and never giving up until that you have learned and you feel accomplished about what you have learned. And just heads up for this interview, there's going to be some kind of audio problems here and there, so no need to worry. I have added subtitles so you can easily read the text and catch what they were saying. So just heads up for that. Well, I hope you find the interview useful as I have. I have been now practicing what they have advised. I was very inspired after this interview. So without further ado, here's Monique Obligacion and Rocco Mapua of Druid Things. So thank you once again, Rocco and Monique, for your time and for agreeing to be in this interview. I noticed that more people are interested in, let's say, growing your own staples, for the fear of, the resources that I may run out, or that they don't want to keep going out of the house, or that it's just more expensive and budget friendly. So, but knowing you guys have, a beautiful rooftop garden that you have been taking care of, can you share us more about how can we follow your how can we follow your lead? How was your journey, and what's your advice to us?
Start small.
Something easy that won't break your heart. Herbs like basil
Leafy greens.
and leafy greens.
Yeah, herbs, leafy greens. If you want to start with stuff that's easy, that'll give you your ROI real quick, spring onions. Especially like if you don't have access to seeds and you can't go anywhere, like garden store or whatever to get seeds from, you can always just get the roots. Or rather, like if you buy spring onions from the market or the supermarket, just leave like a few inches, maybe like 3 inches. Just when you buy the stuff from the store, cut the tops, and then the greens, the top bits, right? You use that for cooking, and you want to do that right away because they kind of wilt fast. But what you want is to save maybe like 2-3 inches of the roots and a bit of stem, just so it's got like leaves somewhat poking out. Just cut that and then stick that into the ground. Lots of videos, lots of articles will show like pictures of like green onion roots like in a glass of water or something. If you do that, you have to change the water regularly and you'll still eventually have to stick that in the ground. If you leave the spring onions in a glass of water, the water's gonna start to stink and it's just gonna rot. So it's just better to just plant the roots in the ground. And you want to do that on a shady day or in the shade, just so they don't suffer and they have a bit of time to
Recover from the stress.
yeah. Basil's also easy and your ROI is real fast. For basil, again, there are lots of articles online to show how exactly to do this. There's going to be a bit of trial and error. See what works for you. I mean, don't put your eggs all in just one basket where, oh, I'm going to grow basil and I'm just going to grow this one sprig. It's not going to work that way. You kind of have to figure out what works for you. One thing that we always tell beginner gardeners is that the black thumb doesn't exist. Like, it's a myth. Green thumbs are people who kill a lot of plants. It's just that they plant more and they always learn from their mistakes. And also just, having the initiative to search for things. We're in the age of information. Everything's at our fingertips. We can always just, if we've got questions, there are answers. We just have to find these answers. That's actually why we set up our group, our Facebook community, Manila Grows Food. That way people can ask questions where people will give answers based on experience. So there's spring onions, there's basil, what else? Leafy greens like kale, arugula.
Kale's the dinosaur kale. That's easy.
It depends on your location.
Right.
Or the growing conditions in your area. Which brings us to another thing that's easy, that's not just a leafy green or an herb, and that's moringa, malunggay. It's super easy. You just have to stick like a branch,
A cutting
in
the soil.
But it has to be like the woody bits. It can't be like green like shoots of leaves and stuff. The biggest pot you can find, just fill that with soil, stick a branch of malunggay like right in the middle of it, and it's going to look dead for a couple of weeks, and then later on you'll be surprised to see all these little green shoots coming out of it.
And yeah, and once you have all these harvests, let's say, or even if you went to the grocery store and you want to lessen your trips, can you tell us more about how can people prolong their staples?
We freeze a lot of like eggplants, kalabasa, and all that. Even garlic. I mean, people don't usually freeze garlic because, again, like we said, like it kind of changes like when you get it out. We've frozen garlic where it's just the cloves themselves, and then we've also frozen the garlic minced, and then we've frozen them with oil.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out of the freezer and you stick it in the pan, the oil and the garlic heat up at the same time, and the garlic doesn't burn while it's defrosting, stuff like that. There's a lot of trial and error involved. You can freeze a lot of things. The only thing is that don't expect them to come out like same
Addition of
Condi-
flavor.
yeah.
Just a quick disclaimer, we try to avoid using the dehydrator as much as possible because it uses electricity to run. Um, However, in some instances where we really need to preserve food fast, we put it in a dehydrator, let it go, let it dehydrate the food, and then once the item, like for mushrooms, once it's completely dry in the dehydrator, we immediately put it into an airtight jar. That way, any moisture and humidity can't reach it, and by keeping the moisture and humidity away, you prevent mold from growing.
Right. And I think if they don't have a dehydrator at home, then they can also just purchase dried spices.
That actually leads us into the dry goods section, and there are a lot of dry goods that you can get. You can get grains, dried beans.
It's not just dried spices. What we have in our pantry, the reason why we don't go out so much, is we've got a lot of dried beans, just dry goods in general, like dried garbanzos, dried soybeans, dried mung beans, mongo, dried mushrooms,
Rice,
the usual,
adlai,
rice, adlai,
other grains, staples,
um,
beans,
pasta.
pasta.
Between the mushrooms and the beans, we can make our own meat. We can
Right.
do all sorts of things. And then we also grow our own mushrooms, so we don't really have to step out and buy anything.
And before we wrap things up, I would love to hear more if you guys have any final words or final advice.
For me, the best advice I can give is Google. Google while you still can. And if you want to learn something about something, Google it.
Also, like if you fail the first time around, just keep trying. Just as long as you're making informed decisions and you're actually doing research, you'll be fine. It's research and trial and error. It can't just be one without the other. If people spent just half the amount of time that they spent watching Netflix on learning, picking up new skills, whether that's in planting food, growing food, food preservation, or even just cooking. Everybody has the same amount of time every day, especially now, like with everybody quarantined.
Mm-hmm.
About, budgeting stuff. If you spend an hour a day watching Netflix, maybe spend that on learning something new.
And hopefully they will find watching this video as something that they can do just that, pick up something useful and informational. So with that, thank you guys so much for your wisdom, sharing with us what has worked with you and what the things that we can incorporate in our life. Salamat uli. Enjoy the harvest! Okay, take care.
Safe over there.
Salamat. I will. Thank you then. Take care.
Bye-bye.